guess I'm live, man. No viewers, but I guess I'm live. We'll see how that works. How you doing, YouTube? Matt, Massive Beer Reviews. Back with a little bit of unboxing. A little bit of a unique unboxing that I'm kind of pumped to do. I've been doing the whole Black is Beautiful beers for the past month or so. I did a couple of kind of social commentary pieces on the whole Black Lives Matter movement and all those kind of things, and I reviewed a couple of their beers. I think I've only posted one or two so far, but I think if I posted one, and I have two in the can as far as additional reviews of the Black is Beautiful beers, because like I said, they're not really reviews. I talk about whether I like the beer or not, but you should buy them nonetheless. Anyway, I had my boy Jacob chiming in. What's going on, brother? I had my boy Tony from down Texas way kind of chime in and write me and be like, hey man, he wrote me on Instagram, and he was like, hey, have you had the original Black is Beautiful beer from Weathered Souls? So Weathered Souls is the brewery that kind of spearheaded the whole movement of the Black is Beautiful thing. And I said, no, man. I'm like, actually, I haven't. I've had a couple of beers from a couple different people, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, he's like, hey, man, I'm down here in Texas. I'd be able to kind of provide those for you. I was like, that would be freaking awesome. So he's like, okay. He's like, I will send some off. Doing God's work down there in Texas. Tony is. Thank you very much, brother. And then he, not to get, he ends up packing up the beer, sends them off, gives me a tracking number on Monday. And he's like, hey, man, the beers will get there soon enough. And not to get too deep into the secondary conversation, he shipped it, and halfway through, he's like, hey, man, somebody I know, a member of my household, keep it as vague as possible, it interacted with somebody with COVID. So I don't know how you want to handle that as far as these beers go. And I was like, hey man, no worries. I'm like, I worked for 18 years doing, infectious disease control and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I'm totally fine with everything that you send off. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? You take care of you and your family, and they're in a good place as far as COVID goes. Let's put it that way. Like I said, I don't want to get too deep into somebody else's story. And received the beers today. So he actually sent me this. This is not the box that he sent me the beers in. This actually comes from Mike from Chicago. I use this shit all the time, Mike. Thank you very much. It's like one of my favorite things to put beer in now. Anyway, he set the box off. I opened it up. You know what I mean? And there's 3 beers inside that are not mystery beers. And then there's, I think, 8. I forgot to count them, but I'm feeling like 8, maybe even more mystery beers inside there. So my plan was, okay, I'll open up the box and, I'll discard the contents and then I'll just wash the beers. It's kind of not hard, really, if you follow protocol. I can't wash the mystery beers. It's paper towels and stuff like that. So I quarantined those beers off. Man, it looks like I'm dropping frames like crazy. I got to figure out my whole beer or my whole streaming thing. Anyway, so I quarantined those mystery beers off. I'll give them a couple days. COVID lasts on aluminum for I think it's 48 hours maybe. No, it's not even 40 hours. Like a soft drink aluminum, it lasts like 5 hours. On cardboard, 24 hours. And on glass, it can last up to 5 days. So there was a couple bottles in there. So we're going to do an unboxing of the non-mystery beers here. And by unboxing, I mean unbagging in this disco bag. And then you guys don't want to see the mystery beers anyway when I do this kind of stuff, so you don't have to watch it. So there you go. My rule of thumb, if somebody's going to go out of their way to send me beers, the least I could do is at least do an unboxing. So what do we have here? So, like I said, he said he'd send me some Barreled Souls. Or Barreled Souls. Jesus Christ, Weathered Souls. Barreled Souls is a brewery from up in Maine. They're pretty fucking awesome. So go check them out. So he sent me actually 3 different versions of... let me get my little podium here so you guys can see these properly. He sent me 3 different versions of Black is Beautiful beer from Weathered Souls themselves. And he said these weren't actually... let me see if I can actually bring that up here so I can actually give you guys an idea what's going on. Let's see. bring that over here. Okay. So he ended up sending me off 3 of these, which is really cool. And he kind of ended it. He broke them down for me because since they're all from the same brewery, there's some collab going on, there's some adjunct going on, things like that. And he was like, I didn't mark them. And he said here, more specifically, he said, the 2 solely brewed by Weather Souls have the image of Tommy Smith raising his fist at the Olympics, which would be this one, and which would be this one, which is very, very taut. He actually wrote me. He's like, hey, man, he's like, a friend of mine. He's like, I sent off some to a friend, and it almost blew the bottom out of the can. This didn't blow out, but man, it wants to. It's tight. So this has got to be the one here. And then he sent one that was actually a collaboration that actually has George Floyd on it. And then he wrote that the base stout is the Imperial Stout, no adjuncts added, which is this one right here, which is the yeah, that's the spelling one. Okay, let's see what's what. Let's see. Okay, that makes more sense. So this is the base stout. The one that's swollen, that's kind of dangerous, is the one with the adjuncts in it, which makes kind of sense. And it's hazelnut, Rwanda coffee beans in it. So it's a kind of a hazelnut coffee bean version of the base stout. Then we have the base stout from Weathered Souls. And then we have a collab here, which is collab with Isla Street Brewing. It's an Imperial Stout made with caramel, pecans, and chocolate sugar cookies. Yeah, that'd be this one. This is the one with actual George Floyd on it. There's a big whole story time on the back here. Actually, it's not story time. It's all the people who have been systematically murdered from, over the years by police and other people, rogue, whatever. Actually, and here's the thing, Isla Street Brewing Company actually has George Floyd on the back there, with a, is that in Spanish? And they might be a company not from, no, it's hosted by Weather Souls. Let's see what these guys are from. I'm assuming they're south of the border, because, not that you have to be south of the border in order to speak Spanish, but yeah, I assume they're a Spanish-owned brewery, or whatever, you know what I'm kicking at here. But yeah, that's a pretty good little package there. I mean, it's kind of underwhelming to look at it this way, only because it's like, there's like 8 to 10 other mystery beers along with this one. But this is going to be a really fun kind of beer review to do. And by beer review, I mean singular. So I'm going to do these side by side by side. I'm actually going to do a 3-way 10% Imperial Stout side by side for you guys. He actually jokingly said on that message he sent me, he's like, maybe a triple side by side, and then he put like a laughing emoji. I was like, no, dude, I'm totally gonna fucking do that. So we're gonna get a 3-way side by side here of Black is Beautiful beer. So it'll be fun because you'll have that base, the one that was like, listen, everybody's doing the same recipe, but you give the same cook the same ingredients in a different kitchen, it's gonna come out different. So to get the OG from Marcus Bakersfield, and the whole 9 will be awesome. To get an adjunct version, which will probably explode out of the can, so this might have to be done really quick. I actually, funny enough, I thought I just heard hissing. Funny enough, I actually unwrapped this. I was like, ooh, that's tight. It's like tight. Like, I don't even want to squeeze it. I like wrapped it in its own bag. That way, if it bursts in my beer fridge, I'll be okay. So we'll have the base, we'll have that one, and then we'll have the collaboration. So it'll be fun to dive in all 3 of them and see how they vary, because you'll have the base from the original brewery, you'll have an adjunct fucked with version, and then the Illustrate version. There's Tony in the fucking comments right now. Mexican brother owned brewery. So 2 Mexican brothers own a brewery, which kind of makes sense because the way they have stuff going down. But it'll be fun to actually do that kind of 3-way side by side, and it'll just be cool because you get how different is the beer going to be internally. From Weathered Souls, like how is it going to be different, because it's going to be, their base and then their adjunct version, and then you have an adjunct version that they collab directly with for somebody else that I assume was brewed at that brewery, because it doesn't say it was brewed at Weathered Souls, and then actually it's going to come off their system, so it'll be cool to kind of see that on a 3-way side by side. Anyway, pretty pretty cool package. Like I said, the mystery beers will be stacked up on all sides around me if we're doing it. But I wanted to use this because I didn't want to talk about Tony's in the chat right now, and I didn't ask him about like how in depth I wanted to get on this whole thing. But this is the good thing in the beer world, and it's a good thing in the normal world. Like the way things are going right now with COVID, and it's not fake, it's not a hoax, it's not a pandemic, it's not whatever. It needs to be taken seriously. It needs to be taken seriously for one huge selfish reason. Well, two selfish reasons. One, to live. People want to live. And two, we want shit to go back to normal. And how do you get shit to go back to normal? You do what Tony did. Be Tony. You know what I mean? Because he could easily be like, hey, somebody I know that my family comes in contact with was diagnosed with COVID. That he could easily have never written me about that, and I'd be like, whatever. Not that I wouldn't have handled the beer the same way, but, he went out of his way to be like, hey, I was kind of ancillary 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon next to somebody that was actually, diagnosed with COVID. And that's the kind of things people need to be doing right now. That's the stuff everybody should be doing right now. Wearing your mask, protecting yourself, doing all the logical things that science... Listen, I'll let you in on a little secret. Science doesn't exist to fool hillbillies and crazy conspiracy theory people. Science exists because it's science. They're doing what they can do to help better the fight against COVID. I know a lot of people kind of look at specific things when it comes to science, and they view it as a kind of, oh, look at that, that proves they're wrong. Like, oh, masks work, but they don't work, but they work to a certain percentage. People are like, oh, see, at the beginning they said no masks, but now they say masks. They don't know. It's called science. It's called, you learn as you go, and you take the data that's in front of you, and you use that data to make a informed decision. If the data changes, you change your output and you change the thought process of what you're doing. It's not complicated. But some people choose not to be that way. Anyway, back to the core of the story. For him to reach out and be like, hey man, just want to give you a heads up, just in case. It's, the thing everybody should do. If you feel sick, if you feel weird, if you're in contact with people, you should let people around you know. It's just a common and courteous and decent thing to do. And I'm fucking applaud the fuck out of Tony for doing that, because not a lot of people would. So thank you very much, brother. So yeah. And oh, by the way, thank you for the beer too. Kind of dig that. Yeah. What else is going on? We'll do a little bit of quick chat here. I'll go into the. Let me grab a motherfucking beer. Yeah. And then we'll go through a little bit of comments. Maybe hang out for a half minute or so, and then go from there. So we have Bill Bach in the chat. He's always in the chat. He's a good dude. He says, what's up, guys? Currently drinking some Jack's Abbey Citra Brow. Tried it since you guys were talking about it during the live stream. What did you think about it, Bill? I love that fucking beer. I mean, it's probably a little bit older now. It's probably about 2 to 3 months old. So I'm hoping it held up. But I love that fucking beer. Good God. But wait, I could be wrong. So I think they recirculated the recipe in. Did you get it from the Mix 15 pack kind of thing? If so, let me know what you think. Jacob Barham says Illustrate is from San Antonio. I've always wanted to go to San Antonio. I don't know why. I think it's just because of the Spurs and Greg Popovich, but yeah, I'll get there one day. Like I said, Tony chimed in and say Illustrate from San Antonio. They're a Mexican brother-owned brewery. And Clinton Watts. You can't just say Watts. You have to say Watts. Clinton Watts saying greetings from North Carolina. So yeah, there you go. My beard's out of control, man. I haven't been to the barber. Like a lot of people, like a couple people have actually chimed in, like on social media, like kind of calling me out for going to the barber during like quarantine and shit like that, because my shit's not super long. It's called watching YouTube. I've been fucking cutting my own hair for 4 months now. I can't wait to go to my fucking barbers so badly. You guys have no fucking clue. I wish I had my iPad right now. I'd show you guys a funny fucking picture. But yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to go back. He's like one of my good friends too, so it's like every time I gotta hang out with him, and hang out, it's just such a great time, and I'm just all kind of crazy, scraggly, and everywhere and stuff like that. What the fuck is that? My cat. Anyway, and we have Julius Castillo chiming in. Weather Souls in San Antonio. Thank you very much. Yeah, so there I go. Plans for the weekend. Bunch of beer reviews, man. I got a bunch of boxes in, as you guys have seen over the past week or so. I got 2 beer mails from Texas alone, which is kind of weird. Excuse me. And then I got a beer mail from Ohio. I did a couple beer reviews out of there. I can't show you that one. That's a mystery beer. I did Mass Landings Peanut Butter Jelly Time. Or Baseball Bat is actually what it's called. This is a weird beer. I got to do some research on this thing before I post it, because there's something weird going on with that. And then I did a new brewery I've never had anything from before. It's Magic City Brewing. It's their Prison Mike. This is a hazy. That be what it's looked like. So we'll see what's going on with these 2 suckers. And I also reviewed this Clear Beer Status. Look at that. Looks like apple juice. It's a little summer lager. Industrial Arts. They know what the fuck they're doing with lagers. This is delicious, by the way. So yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to take my leave of you all. Hopefully this went better than yesterday's. I've been messing with my my setup back here, both from internet and hardware standpoint. I had a gaming computer. I built a new one, so my old gaming computer kind of came back here. My nephew, who's in his early 20s, wanted to build a new gaming computer, so I actually lent him some of my parts from my gaming computer and kind of Frankenstein my computer back up. So it seems like I'm running a little bit of a different thing right now, where I have to figure everything out. So hopefully it gets all dialed up and correct. So hopefully these streams don't get too poopy. But anyway, thank you very much, Tony, for sending those beers off. Keith on Riot. Clinton Watts. Keith on Riot. I don't know what Keith on Riot means, but I assume you're talking about Keith. Keith is Keith. We'll probably hang this weekend. I got to reach out to Keith. He got some good news this week, so yeah. Anyway, my feed's starting to fuck up now, so I'm just going to leave. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little unboxing. Thank you very much, Tony, for sending that stuff off.